Hey, Susan, calling on line one. Welcome to JSECO
Yes.
Live.
I want to ask, are they using the COVID bill, which would be a domestic bill, I would think, as an excuse to pass an illegal budget? That's one of the questions I had.
Yeah, why was it combined with the government, the funding of the U.S. government? Than that was I think an issue here that has caused a lot of trouble. They try to say, oh well, don't point to that. That's because we combined two bills, but you didn't have to do it that way. They could have voted on both separately.
Oh, and they absolutely should have. They used it as political cover. I mean, it wasn't illegal, but it's actually even worse than what Susan is saying. What they did is they combined the COVID stimulus bill with the $1.4 trillion funding for the next year. Then, Jordan, in the House, what they did is they divided that bill in two so that some Democrats could vote against the defense portion and then put the COVID package with the rest of the appropriations. So everybody could kind of vote against what they wanted to, but both would pass. And then what they did, Jordan, is they, through a parliamentary procedure, they combined those two and sent them over to the Senate as one. So look, they're just trying to hide the ball in all sorts of manners. And that's why, to be honest with you, when I woke up and some people were saying, well, the president is conflating the budget with the COVID stimulus bill. No, he's not. That's exactly what's being sent to his desk. He's being sent to his desk one bill that has all of that in there. Is it illegal? No. Is it a political game? Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask this to Harry because I tend to agree that what they've done here is tactically a bad move. I understand why you got to have continuing resolutions, you got to have budgets, you got to be able to have government operate. But the American people right now are looking for a specific. They're looking for a specific aid package for the American people. And while the first attempt was something, which is better than nothing, you still want to get them something. Harry?
Absolutely. So Pelosi and House Democrats are masters of duplicity. And so essentially what they've done is that they've engaged in a massive and quite public sleight of hand maneuver. And so essentially what they've done is that they've used the coronavirus bill to hide selective aid to pet projects. For example, $4 billion to New York's metro transit system, $15 billion earmarked toward grant programs for live entertainment venues such as Broadway, $7 billion toward expanding broadband access, money for the Smithsonian, money for the Kennedy Center, money for Cambodia, money for Burma. And so what they have not done, they have not prioritized the American people, and the American people are finally getting a chance to see what is actually in the bill. Keep in mind that the bill contains 5,500 pages. And so only a fan has been able to read the entire bill. But the rest of us are still working our way through the first few hundred pages. And so in some respects, this whole process has been a massive monstrosity, and the American people are right to be upset.
Mary Beth in Missouri on line 6. Mary Beth, welcome to JSECO Live.
When I originally called in, I told your call screener that I was really, really angry with Pelosi and Mitch McConnell. And I do understand it's not exactly McConnell's fault. He feels responsible for getting the bill passed. But I think they just feel like they can pull the wool over the American people's eyes. We are not a family who's hurting, but there are so many people who are hurting, and it angers me. I can't tell you how much it angers me that we are sending money overseas when there are people that need help here. And I think it's just ridiculous. The whole point that the stimulus package is combined with next year's budget is even ridiculous. I thought the stimulus package was gonna help people and stimulate the economy.
Well, I think you've touched on exactly what Congressman Gabbard, who will be joining us in the next segment of the broadcast, and how the president, why we're all in agreement. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. People wanted more to those who need it, and there's two important parts to that. One is so that those who are in a decent economic situation but still need the relief spend money, which helps small businesses, and then those who are in really tough situations are able to provide the basics for their family that they need. And then you get the PPP loan. I think that part of it worked okay because you've got to keep people on payroll to get the loan ultimately forgiven. But Than, this is obviously, it has triggered something on both sides of the aisle. And I think it's just it's triggered America. If we're going to spend American money, we want to help out hurting Americans and hurting American businesses.
And Jordan, look, I think the blame for this lies at the feet of both parties. I really do. I mean, there's no excuse for in a time like this, at the end of the Congress, for not taking the package that you just talked about, the direct stimulus, the help for small businesses, the unemployment insurance, and Jordan, moving it on its own. And you know what? If they moved it on its own, I have no doubt that the president's request for more assistance to the American people would have been in there, because individual members of Congress, like Congresswoman Gabbard, could have brought her amendment to the floor, and I have no doubt that it would have passed. But both parties, Jordan, do this. They get in a small room with just a handful of leaders, and they negotiate a package that nobody else gets to read, and then they rush it through at the last minute, and they put a bill on the president's desk, and his only option is to sign it or veto it. Jordan, for any president, no matter who it is, that's a false choice.